Figured I'd go on ahead and post this just to let you guys know the list has been officially published in the Warframe forums, and we're just going to kind of go ones are which. Now I'm not going to really be able to read the chat just to give you guys a heads up, but I figured I'd go on ahead and let you guys know the details of what's going on. So let's start with Ash. So Ash, what he gets is he gets Shuriken, and the augment that he's going to get, as you can see, is Seeking Shuriken. This is not a Seeking Shuriken build, but you will be able to pass that ability on to additional Warframes. His augment, like I said, is going to be Seeking Shuriken. If you get it up to, I think, 145%, then he should be able to strip 100% of armor. Just keep in mind, you can only strip 2 enemies' armor, but it's an instant cast. So that's getting passed on. Next up, we got Atlas. What Atlas is going to be getting is Petrify. And with Petrify, what's nice is you're going to get Orgaze. And Orgaze increases drop chance. You can give this a relatively large range. I see this going really good with Chorus, just to give you guys a heads up. It'll increase your drop chance on top of any drop chance booster, so on and so forth. So if you're solo farming, particularly in Steel Path with a Cora, this will be really good for you. Next up, we have Banshee. This is going to be more for your Savage Silence players. You'll be able to carry over Silence. The Savage Silence augment that's going to come with it basically just allows you to get finisher damage. That's basically all it does. It has 300% finisher damage. This would go good if you're running with an Inaros, just to give you guys a heads up. If you guys are that type of Inaros player, you can move this over to maybe his 3 or something like that, and then boom, you're good there. So she gets Silence. It also doubles as a CC. Probably not the best CC in the list published, but nonetheless. Baruch got Lull. So Lull, this is also a CC ability with a massive range on it. It basically just puts the enemies to sleep. That's what he's getting. If you have a copy of him, you could put that in your Helminth, which is amazing actually. So if you're running any Inaros, Jesus Christ, Elemental Ward is going to be busted on Inaros. Particularly because if you run a red energy color or orange or any other sort, you're going to get health. As you can see here, I run health on mine. Just keep in mind, you still have to mod for this particular ability. It comes with Everlasting Ward, which to my understanding gives that ability to your team like that. You can check that information out on the wiki. Fire Blast, that's the one that strips armor. Now there's no details that I can see about it stripping armor, but I know it does reduce armor at a base of 50%, which is nice. So this may go well with like a Saren. So you'll have the heat plus the armor strip plus any heat that's applied to the enemy, to my understanding. With that, you get Healing Flame, which I believe I have it. If you guys are curious about what it does, hopefully the stream is looking okay for you guys. If you guys are curious about what it does, what Healing Flame does is each enemy hit heals Ember for obviously more, 10 to 20, depending on the current emulation level. So I guess we don't need to see it. It basically just heals you if you bust out a Healing Flame. Long story short, if you put that augment on. Next up, we got Equinox. Equinox is Rest and Rage. What Rest and Rage does, as you guys know, is it either puts the enemy to sleep or it will basically proc them to receive more damage. Also gives you a speed increase. This ability is going to be dependent on what color you choose. It actually says right here, we will use Rest and Rage depending on your energy color. Now the augment that you use is going to be kind of busted in as far as farming Adaro, in my personal opinion, because you're going to get Calm and Frenzy. And Calm and Frenzy, what that does is if you kill an enemy, particularly with Rest, if they're within the range of that enemy that you killed, then they're going to get put to sleep as well. So this is going to be really good for using the frame that you want to use when you're farming Adaro for XP, or just if you like running that ability. Or if you want additional DPS, that'll be nice to have as well. Next up, we have Excalibur. Now, I don't have the regular Excalibur, but he's going to be getting Radio Blind. As we know, Radio Blind is a relatively simple CC. This is just my personal opinion, but if there's a Warframe that you have who has a lackluster CC, such as maybe Nyx Chaos, maybe you don't like her Chaos, or just any other ones, maybe like Wisp, you don't like her CC for whatever the reason is, you can use Radio Blind instead. Radio Finish, honestly, I don't know what it does. I do not use Excalibur. There's info about that. You can check that out in the Syndicate list, and I'll tell you what that mod does. For Frost, as we know, Frost gets Ice Wave, which is his second ability. And the augment for Ice Wave, what that does is I actually use this ability on Frost, but I would prefer not to use this ability. That's just my personal opinion. But nonetheless, what this ability can do though is it can slow enemies using his augment, Ice Wave and Impede. It doesn't slow him completely down, but it does slow him by a significant amount. Next up, we have Gara. Gara is Spectral Rage. I was kind of hoping for Splinter Storm, but I don't think they're given. From what I looked at, I didn't see any damage reduction abilities. I just saw that Chroma one and was like, okay, well maybe that one's okay. But anyway, Spectral Rage, what that one does is it's kind of a CC, right? And I don't see people using it. But you get Spectral Rage. That's what you get. And you get Spectral Siphon, which, to be honest, I don't even know what that does. More information about that augment will be in the syndicates. I know Spectral Rage is powerful. I personally am not a pro in it, but that's what she's getting. Next up, we have Garuda. And what Garuda is getting is Blood Altar. With Blood Altar, that one is kind of like a built-in Arcane Grace if you stand within the range of it. That's the best way I can explain it, if that makes any sense. And there is a duration tied to it. So that one is going to be an option. This one might actually be pretty good for Inaros as well, or any Warframe with a high amount of energy. I think that one would be really good for them. Next up, you have Goss. Goss is getting his Thermal Sunder, and as we know, Thermal Sunder can strip armor. I believe for it to strip armor completely, you do have to be at 100%, and it only works on lower levels to strip armor. And what I mean lower levels, I mean like 100 or something like that. But he is getting that, and to my understanding, Thermal Sunder, you're going to be getting both of them, and you get corroding, not corroding, bro. What the hell am I talking about? Oh, he doesn't have an augment for that. I apologize, but that's what he's getting. Next up, we have Grindel, and a lot of people were worried that they were asking about eating. I'm like, I promise you guys, they're not going to require you to eat, and Feast is not going to be an ability because you can't really do anything with Feast. But what he is going to be getting is Nourish. And the note on the side for Nourish, keep in mind there's no augment for this, it says it keeps the heal and gives Nourish Strike only. So Nourish Strike is going to be, you're still going to be able to heal yourself, but what it's going to do is it's going to give you the damage multiplier for Nourish Strike. Okay? No, obviously it doesn't require you to eat anything. You'll just do it, and then you got it. For Harrow, what you're going to be getting is Condem. If he'll load, there we go. You're going to get Condemn, which is his first ability, which is actually pretty nice if you're into CC and whatnot. If you're a hero user, I personally am not a hero user, but he has an augment called Tribunal, and I don't know what that does. I mean, I wish I knew. I'll see if I have the augment. Tribunal, there we go. So with Tribunal, other players will trigger 50% of the effects of Penance and Thurible when attacking chained enemies. I have no idea how that's going to work out, but however that's going to work out is however that's going to work out. Use that information as you wish, but just to recap, he gets Condemn, and we should know by this time what Condemn does. Hildren is pretty interesting. So I'm not sure how you're going to synergize this one, but Hildren is going to get Pillage, which is in itself, I thought that was a signature ability. Maybe they're assuming that Balefire is, or Haven is, but Pillage is... That's like all of Hildren right there. Now, however you want to do this is however you want to do this, but she's going to be getting Blazing Pillage, and instead of using 5 shields, it's going to use 5 energy for obvious reasons. But if you're running like, I don't know, Mag, and or even Protea, or anybody with like a shield gate situation, and you need to pop an emergency shield restore, this is a great resource for that, because Hildren's Pillage gives her, or at least gives me, from 0 shields, depending on the enemy count, it'll give me 6,500 shields in one cast. Just insane. So that's Pillage. And the range on it is ridiculous. Anyway, next up we got Hydroid. He's getting Tempest Barrage. Sorry about that. He's getting Tempest Barrage. It basically just rains. You know, take it as you wish. But he is getting Corroded Barrage, and what Corroded Barrage does is it gives guaranteed corrosive procs to any enemy that it hits. Not sure how this is going to be that useful, because believe it or not, even though it's raining, the video there shows that it's hitting a lot of enemies. In practice, it really doesn't hit a lot of enemies like you think it would, and it's only 1 proc per hit. So that's that's Hydroid. Inaros, what he's getting is Desiccation, which is basically his pocket sands, and with that he gets Desiccation's Curse. As you guys know, I run the crazy Inaros, but if you're wondering about what that augment does, killing a blinded enemy with a finisher has a 75% chance of summoning a sand shadow. That's cool if you want to get a little bit more crazy with your Nyx or your what's his name, or your Revenant. That's okay, I guess, but you know, if you want pocket sands, there it is. I think that actually would be good for if you're doing like Evara XP farms or something like that. I'm not sure. Evara, speaking of which, she gets Quiver. Now, people got this mixed up with Prowl, or at least somebody well, the verbiage was confused with Prowl. They were saying she got Cloak, but she did get Cloak, but she got Cloak Arrow, right? So you get Quiver, that means you get 4 abilities from her actually. You get Dash Arrow, you get Cloak, what's the other one? You get the Bubble and you get the Sleep Arrow, so those are cool. And then the augment for hers is Empowered Quiver, which I was hoping it was going to be Power 3, but that's cool nonetheless. And if you tap, oh, you only get 2 of them. I apologize. So tap Cloak, hold for noise, and the augment only affects Cloak and Dash Wire. So I guess you do get all 4. The verbiage there was a little weird. If she got Quiver, as it says, then I'm going to say it's safe to assume she got all 4. Next up we have Cora. Cora got exactly what I wanted her to get, and that was Ensnare. Because they're not going to give you, they're obviously not giving you Whip Claw, and they're obviously not giving you Strangledom, and it's pretty damn clear they're not giving you Venari, but they're giving you Ensnare. And the reason why I think this is nice is because this is probably the next best thing, aside from Nidus, this is probably the next best thing to Vauban's Vortex, without creating like a clusterfuck of whatever's going on out there. Apologize for the language, but this will go. I'm putting this on my Protea, just to give you a heads up, and then I'll get into Protea here in a minute. But you're getting Ensnare from her. Limbo, as for obvious reasons, you're getting Banish, right? That's just pretty obvious. Now, I can't banish myself, which would be nice, but you can banish your teammates. So if you're running a Loki with a Mesa, that would be even still kind of a busted situation. If you're doing Eidolon hunts and you just don't feel like healing the lures for whatever the reason is, you can banish the lures. So that would be that. It is an option now. For obvious reasons, you're not getting Stasis, Rift Surge, or Cataclysm. Next up we have Loki. Loki is exactly what I thought his was going to be, and it's Decoy. They're not going to give you invisibility because that's too powerful. Switch Teleport doesn't really work. I mean, it works, but I don't know anybody who uses it outside of Decoy. So, and Radio Disarm for obvious reasons. So he's getting Decoy. Decoy is a terrible ability, so if you farmed a Loki, apologies to you. You're not really getting much out of it, unless that's what you need it for. It is cool for redirecting traffic, I'll say that much, but it only really works well in tandem with invisibility. It's kind of like Wisp's second ability, her ghost ability. Mag, as we know, we're getting Mag Pull. For obvious reasons, this is going on my Cora to replace Venari. Venari's nice, but yeah, I'm putting Pull on there instead of Venari, because I don't need the cat. I'd rather just pull my loot. Next up, we got Mesa. Mesa is getting... Where is it? She's getting Shooting Gallery. With Shooting Gallery, what's interesting about Shooting Gallery is that you can double it as a CC, which is pretty cool. But as you can see, it gives allies extra damage while jamming guns of nearby enemies. It does give extra damage. I'm not entirely sure. It says 37%, but to me personally, it feels like it's weaker than that. So you guys will have to test shooting gallery for yourselves with the warframes that you choose, but that is what you're getting. What I will say, what's nice about it, even though it's giving the damage, additional damage, it is going to have a chance at jamming the guns. It doesn't jam them every single time, but it does have a chance at jamming the guns. All right, I'd rather disarm, but that's good nonetheless. Mirage, what is she getting? Well, she's getting Eclipse. Now, this is the only damage reduction that I know is going to be there. I have to look through the list as we're going through now. Hopefully we get a different one, but you're either going to get an insane amount of damage increased. So if you put this on your Rhino, you're gonna be busted basically. And also you can get damage reduction if you're in the shadows, which there's really not a lot of shadows, believe it or not. You'll be surprised how often you're not in the shadows. Let me put it that way. Sleight of hand, you're not gonna get that one for Eclipse. You're gonna be getting, what's the augment? You're gonna be getting Total Eclipse, which basically just shares it with your teammates. By the way, Mag gets Greedy Pull, which that allows you to pull loot, and then for Loki you get Save Your Decoy, which if your decoy gets killed, or if you get damaged, then your decoy takes part of that damage, which even still is kind of terrible. Anyway, Necros, he gets Terrify. Terrify! So, I actually am a fan of Terrify, and that's because the range is ridiculous on this thing, and what it does is it's not so much the armor reduction that's a deal. It's the fact that it kind of gets the enemies off of you when you're in a serious situation, and it's a super fast cast, and it's an immediate cast. And the thing about the augment for this is that the augment turns him basically into a slow Nova. Now nobody really runs this, but it is oh, I don't have it. I gotta go get it. But yeah, so that's what Creeping Terrify does, is it slows the enemies down, which is extremely nice if you're running a situation where you just need the enemies to stop shooting, stop doing whatever, and like it is a really good CC. Of all the CCs, it's actually really good. I know they run around, but if you use his augment, they'll be running around really slow. So that's an option. We know Nezha is getting Firewalker. If I'm gonna put that on anything, it's probably just gonna go on my Volt. This will also probably be good on Goss. Not sure if that's gonna buff his charge rate, but nonetheless, you can put Firewalker on other Warframes. That's cool. Nidus, he is getting his Larva. Now, I mean, you guys know what Larva does. First things first, Larva is actually pretty insane. I wish you could recast it. That's my only gripe with it. But you are getting Larva. It will reach enemies from a really large distance, but if it pulls them and there's an obstruction in the way, then it'll just hold that enemy right there. It's basically another version of, it's basically a makeshift vortex. It's Volban's vortex, but you can't recast it. That's basically what Larva is, just to give you guys a heads up. It is based on duration, as you guys know, and range also affects its ability. I don't know if, yeah, so you get Larva Burst. Now, I don't think I have his augment. I wish I knew about this augment. It's funny because I know about a lot of augments, but I don't know about that one. So Larva Burst, what this does, reactivating Larva to detonate and deal 300 toxin damage in a 5-meter radius. This damage stacks for every enemy grabbed by the Larva, which is pretty impressive. So if you're going to be using Larva, at that point, if you want to recast it, go ahead and use this one. I can't wait till we get to the other ones, because there's actually some ones that people were screaming for. Nova, she got exactly what I thought she was going to get, and that is Antimatter Drop. No, I'm sorry, she got Null Star. Sorry. Null Star is nice, but the augment that comes with it is kind of, it's not going to really work outside of Nova, because her, well, I don't know. Let's get into it. So Null Star, if you have 306 duration, then you'll get a 90% damage reduction, but it's contingent on your duration, and it depletes over time depending on if enemies are around you, because you lose an Antimatter Star over and over again. What the augment allows you to do is it allows you to basically recast it, which is nice, but it's not, you know, it's to each his own. So if you want damage reduction, You're gonna want to do this probably with Neutron Star on Recast. All remaining particles seek out enemies and deal 120 blast damage with the guaranteed status effect, which is nice. But that's the only way you'll be able to recast your damage reduction. So that's cool. You know, but you'll be using a lot of energy just to keep it up. So not, you know, manage it as you wish. With Nyx, you're gonna get Mind Control, which I mean, I guess. I mean, it's if you want it. So with Mind Control, as you guys know, the augment for that one makes whatever you Mind Control, it gives it 500% additional damage. So if you put that on, like, let's say like a Nox or an Exo Eviscerator, or you put that on like a Disruptor or something like that, then that's cool. But that's what she's getting. I'm not sure I really want to go into details about that one, because honestly I don't really see many uses for that one. Oberon, exactly what I was hoping he was getting in that Smite. Why? Because Smite Infusion. Smite Infusion is going to deal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to replace Volt's 4th on a loadout to give me Shock Trooper and Smite Infusion, and now people are going to seriously shut the fuck up, because that's going to be an Eidolon shooter for days. Once again, I apologize for the language, but Smite, you're getting that with Smite Infusion. That's the only reason I see it being used, outside of dropping orbs. Not even dropping orbs, sorry about that. I just saw orbs and assumed that you would drop them, but no. It gives you Smite Infusion. That's basically just radiation damage. Let me just reiterate, that number 308%, that's a mod that says 308% radiation damage applied to your loadout. That's what Smite Infusion does. Next up we have Octavia. What she's going to be getting is she's going to be getting Resonator. Unfortunately, I can't look at the chat quite yet, so I'll check that out as soon as possible. I just want to get through this list. She's getting Resonator, and with Resonator, Charm, what's nice about Charm is that so basically it's a tank. That's basically what it does. I'm just going to read through it so you guys know exactly what it does. Launches a rolling ball that charms foes to follow it, combines with the mallet to create a roving ball of sonic destruction. So this is what does the damage. This is what just yeah, draws fire, does afflicted to increase it. Yeah. So this just tanks the enemies, right? So if you're running, like, let's say an Inaros or a Loki or whatever, and you want the enemies to kind of get off your back, you just run this on a high range build, and now basically they're CC'd. Keep in mind, they're going to be following the ball, and the ball, which to my understanding allows you to put the ball wherever you want the ball to go, which is this guy. So reactivate the ability to command the Resonator to move to your aim point at 150% the speed. So if it's going off course, you can just put that sucker right back where you want it. Protea, the most busted ability in my opinion to go on any Warframe of its choosing, Dispensary. This is so busted on any Warframe where you need to use, where you're going to have Energize. This is Warframes such as Ember. This is those type of Warframes. If you're running, like, Jesus Christ, they are so lucky that they got rid of the Sonic Quake Banshee, because this ability with a Sonic Quake Banshee would have been the most busted situation in the game, personal opinion. But nonetheless, you're going to be getting Dispensary. If you're running a Chroma, that's what I'm going to be putting. I'm going to be putting this on my Chroma personally. The reason why is because I run a very low efficiency Chroma. And also I don't run Energize on my Chroma, so having this would be really nice. But that is what you're going to be getting. Also, this would be nice if you're running, let's say, an Inaros and you want to exploit health conversion. You can use this on him as well, because you're going to take health damage, and doing health pickups with that ability is going to give you a ton of armor. So that's an option as well. With Revenant, what you're going to be getting with Revenant is you're going to be getting Reeve. And the reason why I was really believing that you're going to get Reeve is, number one, Enthrall. I thought they were going to give Enthrall, but Reeve does make more sense now I see it, because Enthrall, you have a chance to CC the whole map. And Reeve, the reason Reeve does so much damage is because of Thrall, right? So giving him Reeve at a base, I think, is pretty cool. Also, you can actually use this as kind of like a mock rush, you know what I mean? So I think that's pretty cool that they gave him Reeve. Rhino, the one and only Rhino. And my game froze. Give me 1 second. I want to save this and pull them up. I'll just tell you guys what they gave Rhino. what you guys wanted. They gave him Roar. They didn't give him Iron Skin, which is what I was hoping they were going to give him, but I am much more happy with Roar. Rhino Charge would have been okay on duration builds because it adds like armor, but who cares? Roar? Jesus Christ. There are rhinos out there that simply rely on Roar for Eidolon hunts. That's how it is. To put it in perspective, if you shoot your gun or you hit your Whip Claw and your Whip Claw hits for 1,000,000 or 80 fucking million. If your Whip Claw hits for 80 million, it now hits for 160 million. Just to put that in perspective. Okay. All right. So that's what Roar does. Depending on, of course, how much power strength you get. But, you know, it is a power strength driven ability. As we know, Saren is getting her mold. Oh, by the way, with Roar, you're going to be getting Piercing Roar, which basically allows you to recast it. It basically just pushes out a bunch of damage and then turns the ability off and you can recast it. To my understanding. I can pull it up if you guys want to see it, but nonetheless, Roar in itself is good. Molt, to my understanding, is only really going to be used to heal your Warframe. Outside of that, it is nice because they won't be shooting at you. They'll be shooting at the Molt. That's cool. I mean, it is cool, but you know, to each his own. It's there if you need it. I would say go ahead and farm the regular Saren and see if you like Molt in itself, and if you like it, then you'll be able to transfer that to your Warframe. Me personally, I don't like Molt outside of it healing my Warframe. Titania. What is Titania getting? Well, Titania is getting Spellbind, which is a neat little ability. And then, well, basically it's just a CC. You CC what's in front of you, they float, they ragdoll. I don't like it. With her augment, what her augment is going to be doing, as long as I have it, which I don't have it, I could type it and pull it up, but I don't think it's worth it. Anyway, you're getting Spellbind, Harvest, which I'm not going to go into details about what that does, because honestly I don't know. But my girl Trinity, what she is getting is what I thought they were going to give her, because she is known for 3 things. That is 1, Blessing, 2, Link, and she's also known for her EV build. So what's left? Well of Life. Only makes sense. This I really see useful in a situation where you do want to have a passive heal on the map, particularly in a ranged Warframe build, such as like a Cora, or you know, any Warframe that you're having a lot of range on, like a Limbo or something like that. That might be useful just to have as a backup passive heal. It does synergize well with low duration, but you know, to each his own. As far as the augment, I don't have the augment, but it says that it's going to give you Pool of Life. To be honest, like I said, I don't know what the augment does. The base ability is buffed though. Just to give you a heads up, this is what the note says. Now it does a small amount of heal over time over a large range. Oh, okay, that's cool. If you hit an enemy, a percentage of the damage dealt gets converted into an AoE heal. Okay, so they buffed the crap out of that. So I'm not sure if it's buffed for her, it doesn't say, but as we know, it is buffed if you transfer it. So now, instead of it being go boom boom, and then that's one heal, and boom boom, that's another heal, what it's saying is going to do it's basically going to do a HOE, or HOT. Which what it sounds like is going to be like Blood Altar or a makeshift Arcane Grace, which would be kind of busted on the Inaros now I think about it. And also if you hit that enemy, then it's going to do additional heals. That's what it sounds like. Okay, Valkyrie, she's getting Warcry. Warcry, this will also be good on, I think this is my personal opinion, I think Warcry is going to be really good in situations where keep in mind that 97% is based on your base armor. So if you're putting this on a low armor Warframe, it's not going to do much for you as far as armor. But the speed increase, where I think that's going to be really nice, is that it's going to allow you to take off speed mods on your weapons. So if you're running Prime Fury or Berserker or any of the sort, and you are tired of that, and you know you want to run like, oh, I want to run Inaros or some Warframe that's not using Arcane Strike, for example, you can now use Warcry on that Warframe, and you can switch out these mods or go back to whatever mod build situation. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, Warcry just basically makes your attacks a lot faster, which is really, really nice. That's what I really like about Warcry. With that one, you're going to be getting Eternal War, which basically means any enemy you kill is going to extend the duration of your Warcry. So you cast it once and you basically don't have to cast it again with Eternal War if you want to use the augment. As far as Boban, what he's getting is he's getting that Tesla bank thing, or what is it? Tesla something. Where is it at? Tesla Nervous. So he's going to be getting Tesla Nervous. This one is kind of busted if you use the augment on it. Hopefully I have the augment so I can show you exactly why, but Tesla Nervous, it deploys a roller drone that attaches itself to enemies and delivers a burst of arcing electricity to anything immediate in the area. The reason why this is kind of busted though, with the augment, I was shown this a little while ago by a buddy, goes by, but we call him Panda, is, I don't know why, but it seemed to do, it basically can one-shot anything. It basically, long story short, it can one-shot groups of enemies that has its armor stripped. Let me put it that way. While a target has a Nervous attached, any damage dealt to it will be absorbed by the Nervous and channeled into an 8-meter burst of electricity on death. So long story short, if you strip the armor or you deal any damage to that enemy, it's going to take whatever damage done, like a whip claw, whoosh, 80 million. It's going to put that into that ball, and it's going to do that in a burst of electricity. So when I say it can deal a lot of damage with that augment, it can. Will I personally use it? No. As we know, Volt is getting shock. As we know that this is going to do much better with Shock Trooper. As you can see, it's doing the same thing as Oberon's Smite does, except instead of radiation damage, it's electricity damage. So if you already run Oberon, you can just tack on Shock Trooper on your Oberon, or tack on Shock Trooper on any Warframe. Keep in mind, unlike it was in the past, the status procs do not, if it proc status, it's not going to combine the statuses. So you wouldn't put this on an Ember and then magically you're shooting with radiation damage. You also wouldn't put this on something that deals toxin damage and magically you're dealing corrosive damage. It's going to do electricity damage, and that's the proc it's going to give you, and that's the damage it's going to deal. Just to give you a heads up, okay? Wisp, she is getting her third ability, Breach Surge. Why do I personally like Breach Surge? Well, as you can see, first off, it gives, forget the status chance, it gives you a damage multiplier. And the range on it is actually respectable, right? So, it's got an 18-meter range, right? So, why is this important? The reason this is important is because I'm going to be using this instead of Nyx, personally, okay? I don't like mind control. I don't like that mind control, mind freak, whatever that thing is, chaos. I don't like chaos. Plus, the range on this is already pretty decent. The duration is pretty decent at 16 seconds base, and it's going to buff my attack strength. Like, that to me is more impressive than any other CC in the game that's available. Okay, so Breach Surge, if you have a Wisp, that's what you'll be getting. Use it as you may. As far as augments, there's no augment for that. Zaku, which is not listed yet, she's going to be getting Zada's Whisper. Or I said Zaku. Yeah, Zada's Whisper. Sorry, she's getting Zada's Whisper. I don't have any details on what that is. If you know what that ability does specifically, that is the ability you will be able to transfer over from a Zaku. Zephyr, as we know, why is Wukong? Oh, Wukong, there you go. So Wukong, you're going to be getting Defy. I already have plans of putting this Defy on the Necros. Why? Because it gives a ridiculous amount of armor. 1,500 to be exact. So if you, well, depending on how many times you get hit. So if you're running a Necros, and we all know health conversion runs really good on Necros. Health conversion by itself is going to get, so first off, let me explain what I'm talking about. Necros has 125 armor. You put Arcane Guardian on him, now he has way more armor. You use health conversion because health orbs are dropping all over the place. Now he has that additional 900 plus an additional 1,350 armor. You take that and you add Defy to that. Now you have the 900 plus the 1,350, which puts you at 2,250, plus 1,500 armor. Now you're probably going to be tanking higher than a Chroma, which is insane. Which is just it's kind of over the top, but that's what you're going to be getting. We were hoping you were going to get Celestial Twin. I was kind of expecting them not to give Celestial Twin for completely obvious reasons. And then Cloud Walker would have been nice. It would have been nice, but it's okay. Either way it goes, no matter which one you would have gave, they all were good. So that's Wukong. Like I said, I'll check out the comments in a minute. Last but not least, we have Zephyr. Zephyr, as we know, we're going to be getting Air Burst. And Air Burst does not have an augment, but the ability has been buffed. It says now, as a hold or tap functionality, if you hold, you receive the original functionality. If you tap, it sucks the enemies in a wind vortex. So I'm assuming it's kind of like Maggot's Anomaly. I can't say exactly what it does, but that's what the note says. Now has a hold or tap functionality. Hold to receive the original functionality, which is what you guys are seeing here. It just throws a blade. It does all IPS of damage spread, you know, amongst whatever damage is shown. It has a radius, so on and so forth. If you tap the ability, it sucks enemies in a wind vortex. So take that as you wish. That is the list of abilities to come. If there's any questions or ideas, you can go ahead and leave them in the comments. Let me go ahead and check out these comments. For those showing up late, what I would highly recommend is just go back, just grab the slider back through the video and kind of start from the beginning. I go through the list of what they do and I just share some of my ideas. Let's see. Hi, Ananas Malinov, how you doing? Ari Bach, what's cracking? Dan, Shock actually does mix with Toxin, etc. to make corrosive. It does. Oh, okay. It just doesn't merge into ready-made corrosive. Oh, okay. Okay. All right, good to know. Sorry about that, Dan. So I take back what I said. I will go with what Dan says, and I guess it does mix with. I guess it does mix. So and then we have Zephyr shit. Okay. All right. Well, that's that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for that misinformation with the corrosive situation with Volt, but I guess it does mix. That's the takeaway from that. So. But nonetheless, if you guys liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. This is CS with DWP, and you know, I can't wait to see what you guys make and what you guys put together. It's coming out on the 25th. Be sure to be up, get that update. Hope you guys got your Warframes ready. And that's it. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you guys in the next piece of content. Holla pimps. Love you guys. Peace.